Yeah. Exactly what he said. Did he ever?
Yeah, if you want a dog or a friend in DC, get a dog. All right, seeing as how it's 10 o'clock, we'll call this meeting to order. Notice the meeting was properly posted August 20th, 2025. Pledge of Allegiance will be led by none other than Colonel Freeman.
Well, if you would please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Discussion and possible action regarding the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion. Is there
Second.
a second? And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item number 2 is resolutions for consent. It's 2 through, get down here to the, oh my gosh, 2 through 30. Is there a motion to approve consent?
I actually need to.
Okay. Which ones?
Well, 21. So if we could approve 1 through 20, and then 22 through 30.
Okay. We can do that.
That'd be my motion.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 21, Ms. Street, you have questions?
I don't have questions, just need to clarify that there was a typo on the agenda item. It has 86 cents and it should have been 89 cents. The attachment is correct, but the agenda item is not. So I would like to make a motion to accept this agenda item. We will pass out the attachment to match it here in a minute, make sure it's updated on our system, and then next month that 3 cents will be added. I think that's the simplest way to handle this.
Yep.
So motion to approve as is today, the 86 cents. Does that make sense?
You're looking for approval now on this item as correct.
Yes. No.
As amended.
No. My motion is to move the item as is,
Oh,
86 cents.
okay.
That's my motion. The explanation is that next month the 3 cents will be added next month.
But are you saying the attachment that was done on the agenda that was posted online is correct?
It is, but technically we have to vote off of the agenda item, not the attachment.
Well, don't lose track of that 3 cents.
We
A
won't.
month's a long time.
We think that's just as simple as it's 3 cents. And so that is what my office recommends.
Okay, I second whatever your motion was.
So my motion is to move the item as is, but felt it was important to explain the 3 cents.
And I second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
That brings us to the end of our consent. Recurring agenda items number 31, monthly financial report.
And that will be Brooke.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Here is your July overview. Going to jump right on into the general fund budget. General fund reserve balance of $8,152,124. There are no pending transfers or any requests for general fund reserve transfers, so your next item will reflect that same balance. On over to your general fund budget analysis. That is page 4 on the PowerPoint. Looking at your general fund cash balance at $23,811,163 as July 31st. Next thing we're going to look at is the general fund Actual comparison from 24, 25, 25, 26. Your revenue has increased by 14.4%. That's about a $25,000 increase. Those driving factors for that revenue increase is your property tax collections, your intergovernment revenue, and your interest for that period as well. On over to employee benefits. I'm going to give you all the cash balance as of July 31. That's page 6. It shows $25,847 the cash. We know that the employee benefits cash is usually lower during the beginning of the year and then collects at the end. And so if you switch over to page 8, looking at the employee benefits comparison to last year, that also shows where your decrease in revenue is about 70% due to cash flow. If we were to look at, which column is this? On your right-hand side, July 25 year-to-date actuals, the 4.7 million on your total expenses compared to your 3.7 million expenses shows you 25% increase in expenses. And then looking at that cash is that final row at that 70%. Next, we will jump over to your capital projects. Your capital projects, you will see actually 2 capital project budget details in today's packet. This is due to finance trying to clean up the presentation and the streamlining of capital projects in the system, moving from the spreadsheet over to Munis for transparency. And so the first page of the capital projects is how it has been presented historically. The second presentation of the capital projects is where I have reallocated projects and the funding sources to basically show appropriately, and then consolidating line items from your as needed and your unallocated to show in the available funds. And so it just helps with transparency. And we will continue to work diligently to show more transparency in our processes. And so there's that second page. Just a few more different line items or consolidated line items. And that will conclude today's presentation. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item number 32 is discussion and possible action regarding an update for BET.
Good morning. No new items on the watch list this month from the previous month. There is one slight change to the watch list. However, the court clerk's item, we had it on there at $400,000. It has been adjusted to a not to exceed amount of $425,000. Other than that, the watch list remains the same. We are looking at starting some special meetings September 2nd to begin the discussions of September supplement dollars. So that process should be getting together pretty quick.
So as of now, no recommendations, no action needed.
No, we have no recommendations on the agenda today. We're just standing pat right now.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Appreciate that. Item number 33 is discussion possible action regarding an update from the Criminal Justice Authority. I see Mr. Timmons, Mr. Kimry, and Mr. Holman in attendance. And this is a Assessor Stein's item. So, sir.
It's good to see Jim Holman here too. Thank you, Jim, for being here. Mr. Timmons?
Morning. There's only a few slides in this presentation I want to cover. I didn't get a chance to redo the whole thing because my person is out with COVID. So I will kind of breeze through this and just hit some high points. This talks about our salary comparison as to other agencies within the state. We're ranked number 6 out of 9 with a high or a low of 21.48 per hour to up to $14 an hour, which equates to about 44,000 per year, just a little over to 29,000. We're number 6, and we come in at 41,508. So we're still trying to put together some numbers for pay adjustments. This talks about our turnover rate there at the detention center, and we have an academy slated to start this next month. We've got 17, I think, in the process, or we've identified that will be attending the academy. That talks about our numbers as far as overall where we lose people, and we don't get a chance to do an exit interview on the majority of the people that leave, find out why they leave. Most of the time, they just call in one day or they just don't show up. So we haven't really been able to pinpoint information and reasons as to why they leave. But I think the majority of the reasons are they feel overworked, short-staffed, and pay, what it comes down to, not enough help. So that talks about that a little bit. Some of the strategies that we're trying to do to increase the number of people that we have to choose from. We've been in the process of developing a partnership with UCO. We've been in talks with them, and we're targeting their criminal justice correction students. In fact, we're getting ready to launch a internship with UCO in particular. We've reached out to the Votech in Stillwater, Indian Meridian. Since school starts up there this month, this will give us an opportunity to explore that a little further. And I mentioned before previously that we tried to establish partnerships with Oklahoma City and Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office so that when individuals want to be in law enforcement but they're not quite of the age to do so, they can apply and come to work for us, provided they pass all the background checks and everything. And once they get hired with us, you know, if they'll give us a couple of years, we'll make a good recommendation to whichever agency they want to move on to. And the same thing with Langston, the students there at the criminal justice corrections programs out there. The faculty there at Langston, they've been a little hard to contact. I'm sure that's because school is just getting back started again, but we hope to revisit that and move forward with that process as well. Same thing with Francis Tuttle.
Excuse me. What was the Indian Meridian Votech?
That's one of the campuses up there in Stillwater. This is a Votech school. They have a program that targets, or they have a Explorer program up there that prepares kids for a law enforcement career.
I have heard about that now. Thank
Okay.
you.
This talks about our average daily costs, and if you look at the month of May, we had a serious spike in the number of people that were booked into the jail, and we went back and delved into that a little bit, and over an 11-month period, taking the averages at a cost of $192 for the first day of incarceration, you see the 11-month cost is $900,000, and these are numbers on people that report homeless. It's not something that is mandatory. We ask the question, they choose if they want to answer it or not. So that number could be higher than what we actually have to go by, because sometimes when these people are booked in, the address from where they were booked in is written on the booking sheet. So, and it may not be their correct address. It may be a business. It may be an empty lot. It could be anything. So, based on the information that we get from those people at the time, that's what we go by.
Did that have anything to do with the arrests that were made by Oklahoma City for the car racing?
This occurred in May of this year, and I don't remember what
May
month.
19th is when those 150
That's
people were put
probably
into riot, so
that's probably that information. That's probably why that number is so high for the month of May.
And of course, the critics were saying that they could have issued a ticket and prevented those people from being admitted to our jail and overstretching our resources.
I believe that's correct.
But this slide is in reference to homeless. Correct?
Majority homeless, but this reflects the number of people that are processed in to the detention center, and that includes homeless, whatever. Majority of the people the information reflects the majority that identify as homeless. The month of May is probably the exception.
Right, so your entire bookends for the entire month of May
Correct.
was 503?
That's correct.
Okay.
I stand corrected. That is just homeless.
Okay, that makes much more sense.
Okay.
Thank you. I thought I
I'm
was.
sorry.
So back to your other, Clary's previous question, then, that 150 was not included on this slide anywhere.
That
That's
would be
correct.
correct.
My apologies. This is some of the updates that we've done in the receiving area in particular. This is self-initiated. They wanted to address the problem in receiving with the appearance. And so the people that are assigned in the area took the initiative, did some painting, made some upgrades in that area back there, and it looks a lot more professional right now than what it has in the past. They did a really good job on it, so kudos to them for taking the initiative on that. And just part of the process to improve the appearance at the detention center. A little bit goes a long ways. Nothing has been done over there in quite a long time. So, again, big shout out to those folks in that area and taking the initiative to improve the working conditions in their area. This is a little bit about the radar installation that's been going on. 28 are currently done. They claim that, or they tell me that the rest will be done by the end of the week. So I expect an update on that tomorrow. And this technology will allow us to monitor heart rate and breathing in the cells on the 12th and 13th floors at the facility. Those are the 2 floors that house the mental health individuals. And the way it's going to be set up, my understanding is it will send notification when a person's heart rate or breathing drops below a certain level. I know they still are doing some testing to get the algorithms correct with the radars, but all that should be in place, ready to go by early next week is what I'm told.
So right now it's not working. It's not operational.
Officially, it's not. It's still in test mode. Yep. Hopefully by the early part of next week, it will be ready to go with the algorithms and everything else they need to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. The HVAC project is on schedule, and that will help us regulate the temperature throughout the building. You can go from one floor to the next, and there could be an extreme difference in the temperature. And hopefully with the new updates, this will regulate that temperature throughout the facility to where it's more consistent throughout the building. This talks about the jail tracker, our jail management software, where we have identified at least 1,800 users on that system, and we're trying to get that cleaned up so we can initiate some more things. These are some of the safeguards that we have currently in place. The facial recognition, I think, is huge. It will help with making sure that when we book somebody in and get ready to release them, it's the correct individual so that we don't have any bad releases going forward. Signature pads, and there's some other things. We're trying to identify how we want to set up a reporting system and who has the different levels of access to that system. It'll help us with our disciplinary inmate accounts, medical, and we're going to provide training throughout the facility for all staff to make sure that everybody knows how to manage this system in the proper way. Pest control, this has been a big one for us. As you can see, we've tracked it by quarter, and from July to September, the first quarter that we started tracking, we had a high of about 140 inmate tickets. And we've come all the way from April of this year to June of this year. We're down to 1.5 tickets a day, or 0.4 tickets per day. And I've been told that bed bugs are pretty much non-existent now. The majority of the tickets that we get or for roaches or spiders. I have a person that works full time, and that's all he does. He sprays daily throughout the facility, and the complaint about the bed bugs is almost down to zero now, or is down to zero now. So I made that a priority. We've addressed it, and we've got it taken care of. So the criminal investigations, 31 active investigations. We filed 24 charges. 29 cases open, 21 are closed, and that's just a breakdown of what the investigators are doing over there. And those guys, they stay hooked up. It's just like working in a small city over there. There's always something going on. 11 charges for possession of contraband. And when you think about contraband, most people think about some type of drug, but that includes other things such as cell phones, tobacco, anything that is not legal within a jail facility. We had 10 charges filed for assault and battery on our staff over there, which resulted in 2 being sent to the emergency room. Their injuries weren't real significant, but they had to be checked out. We have 1 that is being charged with an attempted escape. Apparently, one of the food service vendors left the door unsecure, and one of the inmates was able to access through that door. It was caught. The guy was returned to where he needed to be, and our investigators were made aware of it. And so now they're following an attempted escape. And we've had 2 misdemeanor charges filed to the DA's office for assault and battery that involved inmate-on-inmate crimes.
He was caught before he was able to get out of the facility.
Correct. That's correct. This talks about the average daily population. It fluctuates, and it's been trending up for the last several months, but for the month of July, we had average daily booking just over 62. We released just over 1,900, and the average length of stay is 7.12 days. This talks about the current population, and as you can see by the numbers there, the graphs is trending up for this year 25. The blue represents what the numbers were in 2023, and as you can see in May of this year, we had an increase, a pretty significant increase, but those numbers have been trending up. These are the top charges. Possession of a firearm by a felon, and we have a fairly large number that have holes, and those relate to other agencies that may have a hole, where there's a state, county hole, but we're holding those people for another agency. Top arresting agencies: Oklahoma City by far, the Sheriff's Office, MPD, Midwest City, and Highway Patrol. Recidivism, we have about a 76% with females, and 80% with males. Once they get out, there's a high percentage that they're going to come back again. Special housing, this includes the mental health boards and the people that are there for protective custody. Protective custody stays pretty level. The mental health, that fluctuates quite a bit from month to month or week to week. These are some of the programs that are currently in place over there, and some that we're getting ready to start this month. The big one is the GED program for the males and the females. That'd be in conjunction with Urban League and OIC. We're a little bit behind on that because of technical difficulties that have come up, but we should be on track to get started with that by next week. And they're going to offer job placement. So we're hoping that with those skills that we'll be able to provide, it will decrease that rate of recidivism. And we're going to track that information as we go and see how it's working for us. That's it. I'd be glad to entertain any questions related to this presentation that anybody has.
So Oklahoma City continues to provide customers for us at a high rate.
Yes, sir.
But they continue to pay. No, they don't.
Actually, they
We don't
do
have a
now.
contract at this time.
Are they paying?
Well, we don't have a current
don't have a
contract,
current
but
contract.
we've gotten 700,000, and then we had the last contract was what
1.5, I believe.
1.5, yeah. And then we're negotiating the current contract.
Correct. In fact,
The daily
we're trying to
rate.
get a meeting scheduled for next week to continue negotiations with that contract.
Daily rate for our services.
That kind of it's a moving target. So first day is about 192, second day is 70.
No, it's 66.
66, 64,
roughly
something like that. So, yeah.
And how is that? I
That's
know-
determined by an independent company. They
Yeah,
take all the
NGT.
information, they calculate it up, and they come out with those numbers.
I can't take the
Yes,
treasurer
well-
to lunch for under $70, so
Right.
it seems low.
Those are the numbers that were provided to us, and that's what we go by.
What is the current jail population this week?
Give me a second, I can tell you.
1,728.
Okay, so if you were to subtract the homeless population and subtract individuals with nonviolent offenses, petty larceny, DUIs, misdemeanor DUIs, what would be the average? I know you don't know exactly, but a projection.
I would say
What would be the average population?
probably, I'm gonna say in the 1300s, probably.
Okay, so if we were to cite and release
Mhm.
and not arrest individuals that are homeless, your projection would be about 1,300 population.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Commissioner,
I
do we-
think that'd be
who
fair.
who arrests those people? Do the sheriff's deputies arrest them, or are they other municipalities?
All the above.
All
Yeah.
of the-
Some of them mean that,
Mostly Oklahoma City Police Department.
that's,
Yeah.
we have a
According
large
to
number that come from them, yeah.
your numbers.
Mhm. They provide more than any other agency. Some of the municipalities have their own cells for municipal charges, but Oklahoma City doesn't have a jail, so they bring everything over there.
And another question I have for you, as far as when a person is bonded out, it takes, how long does it take for them to, on average, be released?
I'd say on average, a lot of it depends on the number of staff. It depends on how many people are brought in. Those things can all influence the amount of time it takes somebody.
But
to
on
get out.
average?
On average, I'd say probably 8 to 10 hours would be reasonable.
8 to 10 hours.
I'd say that.
What can we do to help you make sure those numbers decrease so we can lower the population of the jail?
Some of the things that you're already talking about as far as cite and release, and I found out yesterday in conversation that there is a facility here that accepts people that are under the influence, public intox. That's an alternative, and that may be something that a lot of these officers aren't aware of because they're public drunk. They don't have to bring them to jail; they can take them to an alternate place instead of bringing them to jail. And I think some of the folk that come in are homeless and probably have some kind of mental health condition and some type of addiction as well. If they're brought in for those reasons and they have a low level charge, we're basically just housing them and taking care of them while they're there when they really need to be somewhere else where they can get the treatment that they need.
And have you seen individuals being arrested being taken to the county jail as opposed to be taken to the crisis center? Have you seen that as well, where they need mental health help?
I've been made aware of it. Yes,
You have seen that.
I've been made aware of it.
Okay.
But that's certainly a unique situation. Law enforcement officers, our job is not to be mental health professionals. We're not doctors. That is not what we are supposed to do. When probable cause is achieved for arrest, we arrest and then we take that individual to the facility that they're determined to go by location. And for anyone to say that we're going to put law enforcement in a position to where now we have to be doctors and to determine whether this arrest was based upon being addicted to illicit drugs or to mental health, I think puts the entire system at risk.
there's a lot of factors that come into play, just like the sheriff was saying. When those officers are out on the street making that assessment of whether to arrest or whether to transport somebody to another facility, there's a level of experience with that officer that comes into play as well. Would you agree?
Well, I would agree, but I would also say I think there's truly a lack of understanding about the profession and how we operate. When we get there, we see if crime was committed. That's our whole job. Our whole job was a crime committed. Is this a arrestable offense? It's not my job to determine if you went into this store and stole all these items, because you were going through a mental health crisis. All I know is there's PC for an arrest, and my job is to effect that arrest. If somebody kills somebody, but they were under a mental health ailment, do we let them go? And so we make the arrest, and then when you talk about, well, we're arresting people for low-level offenses, I can tell you as law enforcement, the main critique or complaint that we get, certainly from all of our job owners and business owners, retail, Target, Walmart, Crest, you name it, people come in and just rob them blind and then say, law enforcement, you're not doing anything. We don't feel protected because we call you out, you get here, you write them a citation, they go to the next store and steal up to a number that's under the threshold so they can stay within a misdemeanor, and they go on about their business.
Yeah, and I totally understand your concern, Sheriff, but the legislature just passed legislation last year to raise the threshold as far as larceny is concerned. And, when you arrest someone, obviously, although you might have PC, they're innocent until proven guilty, and they have an opportunity to litigate their case in court. So it doesn't change the fact that they will be penalized in the courts or what have you. So my concern is our jail population. We've had so many deaths. We have a lack of funding, and so we have to make a change somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So my direction in that issue is not to arrest individuals for petty crimes. You mentioned murder. Of course, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna arrest that individual and charge them. But as far as petty crimes, we have to find another solution as opposed to just arresting them and bringing them to the Oklahoma County Jail, because this problem has been going on for decades, and we just don't have a solution here.
But that's not a solution that we can provide. We are nothing but a hotelier. To oversimplify this, we do not make arrests. We cannot make arrests. We cannot say who can and can't come, other than denying contracts in the future.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a problem with if we wanted to make these changes. These are legislative changes. You say that they raised the threshold for larceny to make it a misdemeanor. I mean, all that tells me is that when Tommy gets out, that there's more that they've stolen when they move to the next spot.
Well, they raised
That's
the
not a
threshold to
solution.
make it a felony. But what I'm saying is we need to have these conversations with law enforcement because they do protect us, and we need to have conversations with the sheriff, with Oklahoma City Police Department that basically arrest more people than any other agency. So we need to have these important conversations. I understand we house these individuals, but they need to be included into these conversations as well.
Mr. Timmons, I was curious about your comments regarding those who may be arrested for drugs or alcohol, and there was an alternative that might be available where we could send those people there. Is there a cost associated with that, or is that a different entity that would be able to absorb that inmate and the costs?
That's a different entity. And it only, to my knowledge, it only applies to those that are under the influence of alcohol.
And
Is that right? I just found out about this yesterday.
Me personally, I remember when that existed,
Yeah.
when it first started, and yes, it was only alcohol.
Yeah.
But
See, that was me. I knew about it years ago, and I was made aware yesterday that it's back. So, detox is what they call it.
yes.
Yes.
And can you give us an idea of how many people might be arrested with intoxication problems that would maybe be able to relieve the spaces?
When you limit it to alcohol, it gets pretty slim.
Yeah. Come on.
Just clarification real quick. The Public Inebriation Initiative, that's called the PAI, has replaced the detox the old detox center that we had here in Oklahoma City, okay? And that generally is strictly for public intoxication. That's an alternative. Somebody that gets arrested for public intoxication can be taken there. They're not necessarily booked in, but that's where they stay. They're provided a meal, a shower, and a bed to sleep it off. So the public inebriation initiative or something like that, I can't remember the exact acronym, that replaced the old detox center that we used to have here in Oklahoma City.
I appreciate you looking at the importance of using the words, the letters that mention an acronym, because oftentimes the people use acronyms and no one understands what they are. So thank you.
Other questions?
I just want to make a comment to say thank you for getting all the financials together, getting it over to your CPA, getting the audit done, and then thank you to the trust members. I know a couple here were getting that through yesterday. That was a big deal. As you guys know, that goes into our ACFR, and we are really, really appreciative that is taken care of and helps us keep up with our deadlines that we have. So thank you.
Absolutely, and we're going to continue to partner with your office and get things where they need to be. I know we've got some training coming up with some of your people. I'm looking forward to that, and I think my staff is as well, so they have a better understanding of how better to do their jobs and how we can work together and just make things work better.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you guys that don't know, our office has been doing biweekly meetings with him and some of his team members to just talk about how we can get the financials in a place that's easier to pull reports for everyone to review. But then also the training related to payroll and making sure you guys have everything that you need for our office as you guys are working to improve your processes as well. So thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else? Seeing no other questions, thank you for coming. That'll bring us to item number 34. Discussion possible action on resolution 2025-2925, which is an interfund transfer. Ma'am?
It's just that. Oh, there's thought you were looking at me.
Yes, this is just a cash fund transfer from the cash budget for the fiscal year for 1.7 for that cash flow that I stated earlier, the monthly financial, to help pay those expenses.
Move approval.
There's a motion to approve. Is there? And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Freeman, if you could click your button for me, please, sir.
Any more buttons I need to push?
No, you push everybody's button.
That one that's lit up right in front of you, so we don't have to.
Commissioner Lowe, if I could get your vote, please, sir. Thank you.
That's cold.
I know. All right, item number 35 is discussion possible action regarding resolution 2025-3055. This was an item for $334,000 from Mr. Wilkerson. Looks like Jessica's going to explain it.
Yeah, just an interfund transfer from employee benefits supplemental to employee benefits fund, not to exceed the $334,30, contingent upon a PO that I will put on for next week's BOCC meeting. The transfers for CGA premiums for August 2025.
You've heard the explanation. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 37 or 38. Discussion and possible action and resolution 36. What did I say? 38? Yeah, 36. Sorry. Discussion and possible action regarding resolution 2025-3193 for appropriation and transfer.
Yes.
An acronym that means what?
Oklahoma Department of Mental Health.
Oklahoma
Substance
Department of
Abuse.
Mental Health. So this item is more of just a revisiting a deposit that was made, an appropriation transfer for the special funds project, which is with Oklahoma Department of Mental Health Services, which should have been deposited into 1400, was actually deposited directly into Fund 6047, which was the grant fund created for the Oklahoma Community Safety Investment Fund. And the deposit was for $68,545.99. We just wanted to add this to the agenda in order to be able to account for those funds and make sure that we could put it into our Munis software to show that those funds were received on a line item for that grant. And this agenda item will allow us to do that.
Motion to approve, unless there are questions.
Second. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item number
Thank you.
37, discussion possible action 2025-3196.
Okay, this item is a request to create a new line item in the capital projects budget for our courthouse flood that recently occurred, so that way we can pay our vendors.
Motion to approve.
There's motion. Is there a second? And a second. All those in favor?
Number 38 is in conjunction with
Motion
that
passes.
line item. Oh, sorry.
Go
Excuse
ahead.
me.
No,
I apologize.
go right ahead.
Thank you. Number 38 is in conjunction with that line item that needed to be created in order to be able to do an interfund transfer of special revenue capital projects, Fund 2010. We're allocating the line item that was deposited of $200,000, and that is just in unallocated funds. This $200,000 is an advance from the insurance company for that project. In addition of the interfund transfer, we'd also like to transfer the insurance deductible and depreciation of $150,000 that was set aside, budgeted for an occurrence like this to be transferred into that line item, as well as funding for a contract that was passed at the Board of County Commissioners meeting in order to be able to get our elevators up and running. There was a contract for $175,000 as well as a contract for $90,000. So Koenig could come in and take care of our elevators. The total amount that will be in that line item is $615,000, and we'll continue to receive insurance checks as we get an estimate of the total damage from that occurrence.
Motion to approve with the caveat that with the elevators in this condition, I'm getting a lot more steps in.
That's part of the wellness program.
Second.
Exactly.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Cassie, I don't have anybody signed up for citizen. All right. Board comments. We'll start with Randy. Mr. Stein.
Nothing yet.
Colonel.
Not a word.
Mr. Logan. Man, nobody.
I'd like to thank Commissioner Lowe and his district yard. They came out and mowed out there at the range, our Midwest City area. It's quite the undertaking, so we greatly appreciate your staff for getting out there and helping us, so thank you, sir.
Not seeing any, but did you have something?
Motion to adjourn.
There's been a motion to adjourn. Seeing no objection, that'll be the order. Stand adjourned.